Yeah. Oh, here's a question. I wrote this down on my podcast topic sheet. Do you actually respect Michael? Ladies and
Jim's
gentlemen,
Jim's learning.
welcome in. I am your host today, Dr. Jim Cellini. Welcome to the Cellini Rounds podcast. I'm joined by only Tommy today because Michael's on vacation.
We're kicking him out of the family. Okay.
First question, Tommy.
Yes.
How did Michael get to be so wealthy?
Finally, we get to talk about Michael's enormous wealth accumulation.
Yeah. How is Michael so rich?
I think he was dealing in black market deals on the internet, on the dark web. I think he was selling kidneys from patients, and then that's how it worked out.
It's really amazing. Like, he goes on so much vacation.
Yeah.
And it's not like me where I have days off, you know? Like,
Yeah.
he goes on vacation where it's like he thinks he's Dan Bilzerian.
He's gonna hate every single thing about this.
I know.
He's gonna be like, what are you doing?
Now, let's pull up his Instagram.
Yeah, let's go to Michael's Instagram.
Yeah. Now, could you ever imagine yourself posing for a photo like this on a trip?
Me personally, no, I can't do it. But I don't know if that's something in me, though. I'm so self-conscious that I can't actually like pose. I can't take pictures of myself. I can't even I hate taking pictures.
That's the thing, is like, neither one of us are ugly people, but like, I could never, like, I can't remove that part of me that's like, what am I doing? This is stupid.
Yeah. You think it's because we grew up as losers in high school and stuff like that, and we weren't popular kids?
It could be that we have self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Oh God. I'm too self-conscious. I literally can't. Like, I would start sweating profusely if I took that. I'd look at the picture and I'd be like, that's what I look like in real life.
Well, I can tell you right now, wherever he is, this is Barcelona. See how sunny it is. I would be sweating through the front of this shirt, and I'd have to Photoshop it.
I'd be sweating so much. You still sweat as much as I do, right? Or
yeah.
And do I sweat?
I mean, I didn't stop sweating as I've gotten older.
Did you stop? That's science.
As my dad bod settles in, turns out sweating is still a thing.
I mean, I sweat uncontrollably all the time, and there's nothing I could do about it. I mean, Nick always tells me to not use antiperspirant, but I don't think that's possible.
It is. Hey, hold it. Hey, can you take a photo of me holding the espresso with my hat backwards, looking outward?
I know, God.
That's the conversation that has to take place before a photo like that.
I think that's what I can't.
I mean, like, these are fine. This is just like a couple's photo.
Yeah, him and his wife taking a picture on their vacation. It's great. Granddad.
This is Granddad.
Like that sweatsuit Adriana has. I'll look at matching sweatsuit. Yeah, I'll take couple picture all day long. That I can't do. I mean, I guess he's got to,
Oh my God.
He's got to do that one.
That's so rough. God, he's got so many posts. Is there a faster way to get to the end of this?
I have no idea. There's a breast MRI if you want to go back to that.
I don't.
Okay. I guess we won't. Dude, this is hilarious. So every Instagram post from this era, was it 2011? Oh my God. It has this exact same filter on it every single time.
I know.
It's got that like hazy.
That's from filter. August 3rd, 2011.
God, look at Michael in the top left corner of that.
I know.
Terrible.
Terrible. He came to New York wearing sandals and jeans. I guarantee
it. that was a shit back then. Oh, there's mom's wedding. God, it looks terrible in that picture.
Remember when Michael used to wear stuff like this? He wouldn't be caught dead and stuff like this now.
No, he used to have long sideburns and like what's the UGA hat that's frayed in the front?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best. Oof, Jim.
Well, then there's me.
I mean, that's an all-around terrible picture.
Yeah, this is Michael's first ever post.
24 likes. I'm not your friend, guy.
July 4th, 2011. I live in New York City now.
I've moved to New York City.
And look, they got some like stupid inside joke going on the comments.
Oh God, it's brutes.
I'm not your buddy, friend. I'm not your friend, guy. Like, that's some sort of inside joke for the friends.
You know what that's from?
No.
It's from South Park. God, what's the two characters? There's like these Canadian characters that have like a TV show.
Yeah.
They like have a banter back and forth that's like that. It's from
Well, I
South Park.
guarantee you, Michael has no idea what that means.
It's no idea. There's
All
no
right.
way
So, Tommy, what have you been up to this week? Are you just
What have
waiting to go to Croatia?
pretty much been waiting to go to Croatia. I've been packing, which is, I think, packing for a trip, specifically an international trip, it's safe to say is the worst thing ever. It's pretty terrible. And it's like, I don't know if it's just me or like
You need to provide some evidence. Why is that the worst thing ever?
it's just something about like the anxiety. I know you're going to a place that I can just like buy stuff, but it's like the anxiety of everything about like, am I going to forget something? Am I going to get stuck somewhere? Am I going to be in like an airport and not know how to find my way around and miss my flight? And it's
Right.
like, I think it's a combination of the anxiety is built into I have barely any free time. So it's like my vacation schedule's so strict, and C, I don't have any money because I'm a fellow. And so it's a combination of those two things. Whereas like if you have money and time, you're like, oh, I guess if I miss my flight, I'll just stay an extra few days and buy another flight ticket. And it's like,
Right.
yeah, I'm like, oh, great. There goes $2,000 I'll never get back that I really needed.
So making an intern or resident salary or student, and you go on these trips, are you just stressed out the entire time because you have to like pinch pennies?
I'm a little better now. It's if we didn't have a wedding, it wouldn't be a like I don't even think I would think about it right now.
God,
But
you
just
have so much cost coming down the pipe.
dude, the wedding is like the
You can't
wedding is what
even
kills.
you
Yeah,
can't get ahead of it.
because that's the problem. Is like we were ahead. Like Caitlin and I were fine, and we're like we went to Guatemala and everything. Is like we literally didn't have to think about money at all. Like we're able to do daily things. Then it's like oh, you throw in a expensive trip to Croatia with a bunch of attendings, and then you have the wedding. It's just the wedding in the background being like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm gonna have to spend like $8,000 in like
Yeah.
January. And it's like, oh man,
Anything you save up is getting torched
yeah,
in minus 1 year.
right.
And I mean torched.
It's unbelievably torched.
You're gonna have to like when you do catering and like reserve a place wherever you guys end up doing your wedding, like you're gonna have to cut checks for like multiple thousands of dollars repeatedly.
Yeah, just like it's not even. I mean, like thousands. I was talking to a friend, and she was like, God, what she say? She was like, you get to a point where they ask you for stuff, and if it's not over $2,000, you're just like, yeah, sure, do it. Like whatever. It's like because it's just it becomes the new form of like new base form basically.
Have
That's-
you thought at all seriously about like I know Caitlin would never do this, but would you elope if you could?
Me personally, yeah, I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap. I don't give a shit about a wedding.
No,
No
for the
offense,
viewers watching and listening, my wife Liz and I eloped in the Seychelles
yeah.
for 3 weeks for our
I
wedding.
mean, do I want the thing is I know it means a lot to
honeymoon.
Caitlin, so I want it to want something I want Caitlin to enjoy it and stuff like that. But me personally, if there was like Caitlin's like, this is your decision, I truly don't care what to do, I'd be like, yeah, we're not doing that. I was like, we'll just elope and go on a trip or something like
Right.
in 2 weeks and like what you did, go to where'd you go?
Seychelles.
Seychelles, yeah, that's right. Or Dennis Private Island. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Dennis Private Island. Yeah, I look back at our because we got married 2 months after Michael and Andriana got married in New York, and like our experience, it just felt like going on vacation. And then like one of the nights on vacation, I had to put on like a white button up and khakis and walk around the beach and take pictures.
Yeah. I remember
And
all your wedding pictures that have like the workers in there that you need the witness, and they're like, hey,
Right. There's like random hotel staff just like on the private island that are just like witnessing our signatures. And
yeah.
we had some priests fly in from the main island and like the capital city to make it official.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
It always cracks me up. They're probably like, sure, we'll be in it. Now they're just like in the part of the wedding photos for the rest of your life. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, everyone.
Yeah. The morning of the island we were on is 5 kilometers like in circumference. And I just did like a 5K walk around the island and just like saw all the like I saw like they have giant tortoises, cows, and then I jumped in the water and saw like stingrays, sharks, octopus, literally everything in the coral reef because you're in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, I mean that would be.
I was
great.
just like, oh, I went scuba diving that morning too, and I saw like nurse sharks and like giant manta rays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I think this is the way to get married. Like, just have a morning like this, and then just kind of chill.
Yeah.
Liz got a foot massage and like a manicure while I was doing
It's
that.
like stress free. It's probably, I mean, your vacation was like it's quite expensive for it's not like you skimped on any part of
It
that.
was. We got help. We got help from our let's just say one of our parents helped us out a little bit. They ended up covering like a third of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that helps considerably. Yeah. Because I guess
And
it's
we were 2 years into like working full time and me being done with my residency too. So it wasn't like
Yeah.
quite as painful. You're doing that thing where you get married immediately after your residency is done.
yeah. Because the thing is, if we didn't do, it's like we have to pay for it. I mean, 85% of it we're paying for it, 90%
Right.
of it. And so it's like we can't get married. I mean, we could, like, you can get married in residency and stuff like that. It would just be like an absolute struggle the whole time. We'd not have the wedding that we'd even remotely enjoy.
I don't know how people get married and or have children during their training years.
I don't know if there's a lot of people that do that don't have help from their parents.
Picture Beatrice that you have to take care of 24/7, and then
Dude.
also like doing your residency.
I can't even remotely think about how, like,
Beatrice is my daughter. She's 2, by the way. For
dude,
those that don't know.
there's people in my residency class that had like 2 kids during residency, and they'd be like, I mean, I guess
they're just they just want to like have kids and then like get the kids what am I trying to say? Get the kids made so that they're not too old and not waiting till the very
Yeah.
end. So they just want to get the process over with and start, having them, growing up with them having a job rather than just starting the process once they finish and start their job.
yeah. I
Which
mean,
I could see. I
yeah.
could totally see.
I definitely get that. I mean, it makes complete sense, but I think you have to have, if you're going to do that, you either have to have money, like family money, basically. You have to have help from someone.
Do you have family money?
Yeah, I've got a ton of family money. I just go and
where
ask
is
our
it?
parents.
Where is it?
It's buried in the ground in Georgia, I guess.
Oh, we got to go find it. We got to go find our
Yeah.
family money.
There's a treasure map somewhere in Kennesaw, Georgia, that leads us to our family money.
X marks the poor.
Oh God. Yeah. I think
Go
it
here
has
for
to be.
debt.
What's that you say? More debt? Okay.
I think this map leads to a student loan.
Yeah. That's like, I mean, that's like people who get married in med school and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, yeah, like you didn't just like, it's not like you have another
Dude.
job while you're in med school. Like we know where that like, and no offense to anyone who has parents that can pay for that. I mean, Jim, me, and Michael, our goal is so our kids don't have to pay for their weddings. It's
Right.
like Beatrice gets married, she's not gonna have to pay for it. And that's like, that's part of the process. The next generation, you try and do better than what you had previously.
I remember leaving college, and at my last year of college, I knew some girls from high school that were at UGA while I was at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And they were like putting down payments on houses and buying houses. And I was just like, and I would ask because I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I would ask my buddy, I'd be like, how are they coming up with 50 grand?
Yeah. You're like,
what is going on?
Like, how's that possible?
And then as I age, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you just got $50,000 from your parents.
Yeah. It's like, it's much easier.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
Oh, all right. That's yeah. It is nice when your mortgage payment's lower because your down payment was higher.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
I'm
nice.
like, how did you buy a house at the age of 22?
Yeah. And it's like, I did that with some guy. There's a co-resident a few years older than me. I was like looking at houses all the time. When you were looking for your house, I was like looking at houses on realtor.com all the time. So I'd be at work just browsing that stuff.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Are you looking to buy?" And I was like, "I mean, if the price is right, I would love to like house hack like you did here." And he was like, "Oh, I have a place." And I was like, "Somewhere is in the West Loop, so it's expensive as Fukakos." But and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Wait, how did you?" I was like, "What did you?" I was like, "How much was it?" I was like, "And like, did you use a physician loan or anything like that?" He was like, "No, I did. I put a down payment on it, did 20%." I was like, "What?" I was like, he moonlighted a lot, so I was like, "Well, maybe
$150,000."
Yeah, I mean, it had to be probably something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
what? Because I mean, there's no place in the West Loop that's not like, unless it's a 1 bedroom apartment, it's like $400,000
Right.
at minimum
A
to live in the
condo.
West.
I used to look into this, like a 1 bedroom condo
Yeah,
that you would have if you just wanted like a place to stay in Chicago in one of like the Hancock building or something like that. It's
yeah,
like $450,000.
yeah. And it's like the most freaking crummy small apartment you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's $500,000.
Yeah. The decor is all from the late 70s and just
Yeah,
like
it's just a nightmare.
the landlord just puts white paint over the
Yeah.
sockets.
Which, by the way, have you seen those TikToks where people be like, it's the landlord with like a
Yeah.
cockroach and like a Coke can, and they just like roll paint
They just
over
do a roll of paint over the electrical socket with white.
Yes.
That was our house. That was our last house we lived in.
Oh,
It
it's
was
brutal.
that all over the place.
Oh God, that's hilarious. But no, so I asked him, I was like, wait, I was like, how did you buy this? And he was like, well, I mean, my parents bought it, but he's like, I took over the mortgage from it. I was like,
Oh,
well, just lead with that. Like, what?
right.
Just say, yeah, like, I get you don't want to be like, come off as you're like, I've never done anything. I'm like, I'm not going to think you've never done anything, but like, don't
No.
string me along and be like, oh, someone just gifted me $100,000 for a house.
That's the
Like,
thing.
okay,
Like,
well,
I'm
there.
not. I'm truly not like envious or jealous.
Yeah,
Like, good for you. Like, that's
right.
your parents worked hard to do that for you, as I want to do for my child. Right?
Yeah.
It's great. But don't sit here and be like, yeah, I just got a place. I'm in the middle of medical school, and I just got a place.
Like, what
Like,
are you talking
you should be like, look, my parents gave me the down payment on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it cracks me up. I was like, why'd you let me ask 5 questions leading up to that? And we could have just
Could
like,
you put yourself back when you were 22, and what would you like if $150,000 just showed up in your checking account one day? What would you do? Would you like have a literal heart attack?
I want to think it was real. I've
Yeah.
never seen that kind of money like I mean, I still haven't ever seen that kind of money in one place. And it's like,
Yeah.
unless it's my student loan, then I'm like, I've seen that kind of money in one
Right.
place.
Yeah, double that number.
Yeah, so double that, and that's a negative in my bank account. But
That
I,
sucks.
I don't know what I would do. I don't even know what I would do the first time. Like, I don't think I would. I was so used to not having any money that I don't think I would like go out and spend it, because I'd be like, I wouldn't even know how to do it. I'd probably buy like tennis shoes that I needed to replace my 3-year-old pair of tennis shoes or something like that, and be like, oh, thank God.
Do you remember going out for drinks in Athens?
Oh,
You would spend like $13 for the entire night of drinking,
dude, yeah. Or
and
I
it would still
spend-
hurt. You'd be
Yeah.
like, I got to budget this.
Yeah, because I had $100 in my bank account to last for like 2 weeks, and I'd be like, oh,
Oh
sweet,
my
huh?
God.
Dude, I remember we went to me and my friends went to a Falcons playoff game back. They played the 49ers.
Before you go any further, those moments where you go into the city with like
Oh.
non-college professional level stuff, and you start watching the prices go up.
You're like, dude, the prices
You're in the
are
deep water when you're in
insane,
college.
man. I remember I'd be like, I can't.
Like, I'm
Back
sorry,
in-
this drink is $18.
Yeah, like I couldn't go to the game because I was like, I mean, I literally can't buy a $120 ticket. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I was like, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to get that money from to like buy the ticket. Unfortunately, I had good friends and they ended up buying me the ticket, because I was like, I'll just stay here. They're like, dude, you can't just stay. And I was like, oh, thank God someone paid for
Yeah,
this.
you have to have your friends like literally just like take care of you.
Yeah, because it's otherwise you just can't. You have to say no to stuff, and that's the only way
Yeah.
around it.
In vet school, I hung out with a couple of guys, one of which was like I think he was on the tennis team at Georgia with some of our friends too, and some of
Yeah.
the swimmers. And we would go into these like bars and nightclubs and stuff like that. And they'd be like, trying to figure out how much to get in. And they'd be like, yeah, it's going to be like $375 a person. I was like, I guess I'm just going to go to Five Guys and go home and go to bed.
Yeah,
I guess that's my night out, huh? Okay.
I feel like I can't. I literally can't do that.
Yeah.
Or they like get a bill or something. They want to split it up, and you're like, all right, each person owes like $120. You're like, huh?
Did you have any friends that were more poor than you? Or just equal poor? And when I say
probably-
poor, I mean like white kid college poor. I don't mean like truly in poverty, dying to live.
of my like close friends,
Yeah.
I was by far the least well off. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
When I got to med school, I was like, I had some equals in there that
Yeah.
were trying to aspire to the same thing I had, which was that was kind of nice. But college, it wasn't even close. And the
Like,
thing is,
everybody was just like, "Hey, we got to take care of Tommy."
yeah, because I mean, I think.
Wait, did you ever on the podcast have you told the story about your place getting broken into?
I don't think I have. Did I?
I don't know, but to give people an idea of how Tommy was just a level below his friend group in terms of status.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the story about how on Christmas break one year
Status.
your apartment got broken into and what happened?
Yeah.
Or
So
should I
we
say what didn't happen to your
Yeah.
room?
Yeah, what did it? So I think I'm probably have told this, but it was basically Christmas break and we lived in a house off campus. And it was on like
You and like 3 guys, right?
I think it was 4 of us, something like that. So the 4 of us, basically we had to live in this house too, because like we would look for apartments to live in and the rents would be like $300 a month. And I'd be like, guys, we got to get it below $200 a month basically per person. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
I can't afford like $350 a month rent. Like
No, absolutely not.
it's like I just can't do it.
No.
Which is like comical now when you think about it, and like rents in Chicago. I'm like, oh my God, that's literally free.
Yeah.
But I mean, fortunately they're like my best friends and they're nice enough to accommodate that request. But I guess at the end of the day it helps everyone. But anyway, so we lived in a pretty crummy place. And so it's kind of like a sketchy area. It's like we're like, oh, we're 5 guys, like we live in the like place, like I'm sure it'll be fine. And so we go home for Christmas break one time. And the weird thing is too, when we went to go see the apartment, like the people living there had the weirdest reaction. We were like, what's it like living here? And they're like, I don't know, man. And like they wouldn't tell it. They're like, you could tell something happened, and you're like, why is this person being so weird about this? But you know, you're
It's a good
21
sign.
years old.
It's
Yeah,
usually
and you're
where
like,
you want
"Nah."
to live.
Yeah, you're 21 years old. You're like, nah, whatever, it'll be fine.
Not a lot of
So,
moms pushing babies in strollers.
no, not quite.
No.
But and so we go home Christmas break, and we're actually playing poker at Uncle Robert's house. And I get a phone call, and it's the police from Athens, and they're like, hey, is this Thomas Cellini? I was like, yeah. And they're like, this is Officer so and so in the Athens police. And I was like, oh Jesus. I was like, what? I was like, what did I do? And he was like, we're in your house right now. It got broken into. And I was like, ah.
Oh no.
And so like I was
But
like, yeah. So there I was like, all right. And it's like, what did they take and all this stuff? I was like, I don't know. So I texted all my friends, and the funny thing is actually when they called, I remember thinking back in my head, I was like, I brought my computer home. I was like, I have like a bunch of clothes. I was like, I don't think there's anything else I left at the apartment. I was like, I wasn't too worried.
your
about it.
dresser was our neighbor's dresser, that young kid. He had a
Yeah.
dresser, and
Yeah.
we took that in the yard sale.
Right. We took that. I bought some when Michael moved to Atlanta. I bought like his old dresser, like another like side stand and a desk from Michael for like $100 for all his furniture, basically.
Right.
So
So
I
your
just had
apartment gets
hand-me-downs.
broken into,
Yeah.
and a bunch of your roommates get their stuff stolen.
Yeah. So we go back up later. So we go back up later. I go check in and I go through. I had actually had an AC unit in my window, and they just ripped it out and went through my room first. That's how they
Oh, you
got
didn't
in.
have central air?
We did, but my room was so hot that it was like I had to have an extra. It was Georgia. But
Mistake.
so they go through it, and we all start like going through all our stuff and everything, and all my roommates are like, oh, they took this. They took like my Xbox. They took like this his Xbox. They took like my class ring. Like I had a bunch of really nice shoes in here, and I started going through my room, and I was like lifting things up. I was like, huh. I was like, I don't think they took anything.
It's all here. It's all accounted for.
Yeah. Dad, I remember telling Dad that, and Dad started dying laughing. And he goes,
So
they probably walked in. This guy's poorer than I am.
I know. So to get this straight, the robbers break in through your window.
First thing they see is my room.
First thing they see is your room, and they walk past your room to do all the stealing throughout the rest of the house.
Yeah.
And they go past your room.
Yeah. And they're like, oh my God. They probably walked in. They're like, oh, this is a waste of time.
I remember when I
They're
heard
like,
this for the first time, I laughed so hard I had to lay down on the ground.
Yeah.
Your stuff was literally not worth stealing.
No, I mean, it was like my room was the only thing in my room that was messed up was the AC unit. And then the cops did like the fingerprint thing on the window seal as if
Okay.
the Athens city cops are going to like find some robber of the
Right.
kid. And I remember being like, oh man, it's not so bad. Let's just get back to the semester.
What were some of the things that got stolen, like laptops and stuff like that? Did y'all
Yeah, I
have
think
iPhones?
I think they did have like an old iPhone, and that's how I live with people that had old iPhones, so they rebought iPhones.
Mhm.
And that's how that works.
Right.
And like they stole jackets and like class rings and stuff. Um, what else did they have? Xbox. There's like 2 or 3 Xbox system TVs that were taken. I mean, no, this
God.
is my stuff though, so I was like, oh, that
Did you
sucks,
not have
man.
you didn't have a TV in your room?
No, a
Of course
TV.
not.
Yeah, well, I think I had one, but it was like the shittiest TV of all time. And
Yeah.
so when we
Is it a
moved in
box?
there, yeah, I think so. And they were like,
Right.
we don't want that. What are you
Like,
talking
why would
about?
we want this?
Yeah, we'll use my TV.
Slows
Yeah.
us down on our getaway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, do
No,
you
I did.
remember being a kid and going to other kids' house, your friends, and they would have like an extra TV in their bedroom
Yeah.
with like their Super Nintendo and like
You're like,
N64?
you just play in here?
I'm like, wait a second, you just go to your room and like play Nintendo?
Yeah.
Like,
Just
what
go,
is so when your mom tells you to go to your room, like,
yeah.
is that even a punishment?
Yeah. That's where you're at anyway. It's like, it sounds pretty nice.
When mom made us go to our room, we had to sit there and do like Blair Witch and stare at the wall.
Dude, I would do nothing in that room except
You would
be
just you would
miserable.
just sit in your room and stare out the window.
Yeah. That's literally all I did. I would occasionally go through my closet and like find random stuff I used to play
Yeah,
with. Like,
but I here's a thing I haven't seen in a couple months.
yeah, I'd be like, I'll just mess around with that for an hour or two.
Yeah. Hey mom, can I come out of my room yet? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's an odd punishment to get
Yeah, just
grounded.
like go be isolated.
Yeah.
That's a
Man,
very
that's
boomer punishment.
yeah, such a boomer. Who thought of that? I was like, that'll teach him.
I don't know. Probably some like horrible child care supervisor person in the 50s or 40s, I would
It's
guess.
gotta be something like that. Oh my god. I mean, did you like getting your mouth washed out? Are you gonna ground B basically?
Ground Beatrice?
Yeah, are you gonna shove her in a room and be like, get in there?
I mean, dude, do you remember we used to get our mouths washed out with soap?
Yeah.
Like I remember being a little kid and I said something that like I totally deserved it.
Yeah.
And I think I heard somebody say like don't get your fallopian tubes in a knot.
Ah,
And I think I said that to
that's
mom
funny.
because it sounded funny. I had no idea what it meant, but it just
Ah,
sounded like it rolled off the tongue right.
yeah.
I think I told mom she was getting upset about something. I said, "Don't get your fallopian tubes in a knot."
That's hilarious.
And then
I bet she was
she took
so mad.
she took a bar of it. Not 100% sure that's what I said, but I do remember getting a bar of soap in granddad's house because I mouthed off to her and just doing like this with the bar of soap. Like, what a symbolic gesture. Like they would
No.
you said something bad, and then now I'm gonna just wash your mouth of the badness that you said
Yeah,
with
I'm
soap.
literally going to wash your mouth with soap
Yeah.
to get rid of those bad words.
What a puritanical way of like
Yeah.
just punishing a child.
Oh god, it's brutal.
A bar of soap. And I remember being like, no, no.
Dude, you know,
And then
mom,
like I was like over the sink, like like soap and drool coming out of my mouth.
dude, that's torture. That's such a bad thing to do to
I
a kid.
know.
That's so traumatizing. What? Oh god. There's stuff like that. Like there's certain things with parenting, but then you
And
come to
hold
stuff
on,
like
before you go any further, I'm not like mad about this. I'm
yeah,
just saying that's how things were like 30 years ago
yeah. It was
or
just
40 years ago.
yeah, in the 80s. That's
And
just
30 years before that, it was actual beatings. So I
Yeah.
think there is some progress coming.
yeah, it's just mouth. It's just like what happened in the 80s. That's
Right.
Yeah, I look back and I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like it's fine. That's, like I turned out fine.
Right.
It's likely not the best way to approach it, but it's like
I just like, I can't imagine like, people talk about like getting hit by the belt.
oh
Like, can you imagine? I take my belt off and I strike my baby with it.
dude, that is insane.
Is that not insane that people used to do that? I mean, I'm sure they still do that, but like,
Oh yeah. I mean, even
just
like
like, boom.
even to like spank a kid, like I know they act up and stuff like that, but like it is kind of like we got spanked all the time.
Yeah.
And like it was just like a normal part of your life, and you're
Right.
like you're very afraid of what. And I get like kids get unruly, and there has to be there's a mechanism, and I guess just like
Yeah.
100 years ago, that's what you do is just beat your child. So these people, they just go, Like this is literally 100 years ago. They're like, I can't get a hold of my child.
Well, that's
In
so
any way. I guess I have to hit them. There's no,
I
it leaves
I
me no choice.
yeah.
It's
You
like,
left me to my last resort.
yeah, I guess I have to hit this shit. I can't even
There's no
remotely.
other way, child.
Yeah, I can't even remotely get there. Like you couldn't. There's nothing in my brain that would ever be like, Beatrice is doing something bad. Like I should smack her leg or
Right.
like I literally couldn't even. I can't even fathom in my head possibly
Well,
feeling that emotion.
here's the flip side of this. Picture yourself in like Iowa in the year 1925,
Yeah,
and you were like one meal away from starving every single day.
yeah. Your floor is dirt.
You're poor. Your floor is literal dirt. There's no EC. Like, what is that? We've never even heard of that in our entire life.
Right, get out
Ice?
of here.
Like, we don't have ice.
Yeah, I've never seen ice.
Like,
Unless it's
what
winter.
is ice? I've heard rumors from the trail that ice is a thing, right?
Yeah,
And you've got 8 kids, and you're like so poor and barely making ends meet that you can just barely provide food to continue survival.
oh.
And then your kids talk back to you. Now, I'm not saying like
In the middle of
hitting
a
kid
dust
is
storm.
right.
Yeah.
What's that?
In the middle of a dust storm in
Yeah.
Iowa.
Yeah. And it's black and white because color hasn't been invented
Yeah.
yet. But like, I'm not saying that like, what do you call it? Corporal punishment is correct. But I can understand how a person like that would just be like, I don't have the emotional bandwidth to,
Yeah.
to correct you right now
Yeah.
and have a talk.
Be like my body's eating itself from the inside out. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to reason with my child at that point.
I've had undiagnosed intestinal parasites my entire life.
Yeah. Since the dawn. Since my
And I
birth
vertically
until now.
transmitted to my 8 children. And now they're talking back to me and I can barely stand every day.
Oh God, that's funny.
If I don't walk 12 miles to town to deliver this milk jar, then we don't eat.
Yeah. We had a special treat. We got some flour from town that will last us the next 6 months until we see someone else from town 12 miles away.
So again, I'm not condoning, spanking and hitting your kids and stuff, but
there's a reason it developed back.
There's a right. I'm sure nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
They just don't have the emotional bandwidth and the energy.
Right. Because that's like our parents, like they got hit and then
oh yeah.
And it obviously like they hit their kids significantly less than but they're like their parents were literally people from the Depression.
Right.
So it's like that's how they view stuff.
Right.
So then it dissipated out. Now it's like pretty much on his way out with us.
Do you feel like me and you, and I guess Michael too, although Michael's kind of like a few levels above us in socioeconomic status, that we're able to like remember and almost connect to that like 3 generations ago more than most people our age? I feel like we think about that a lot.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like an awareness thing. That's maybe it's like the dynamic of the 3 of us. We're able to corroborate stories much better. Yeah. And so it's like we can
triangulate the truth.
Yeah, right. So you can keep those memories because it's like when you have a fleeting thought, but it's if you don't have 3 people, you're not close. It's like you're not really thinking about stuff from the past. I don't know. I feel like probably most people our age I feel like your 30s are that time where you start to think like that.
Yeah.
You're like, you're having kids and you're like, well, now I'm putting myself in my parents' shoes. And it's like the whole situation like that.
Because having a kid has definitely done it. And I think back to like when I was as young and as far back as I can remember. And I remember the things that mom and dad used to say. And what they used to say was about being a little kid this age.
Yeah.
Which means that they're remembering when they were little kids. So now I'm back to like 1955.
Yeah.
With like what I remember.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like a 70-year span.
You're just the information's getting passed to you. And
like, yeah.
You're holding on to it.
It's pretty crazy.
Your tribe.
I forgot what else where was I going with that? I had a really nice segue and then I completely blew it with that story.
Oof. Well, we may have to end the podcast anyway because it's around time. How long have we been going for?
40 minutes.
Oh, that's pretty good. We have a
that's not bad.
A little short episode. Michael will probably hate this episode, but that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, here's a question. I wrote this down on my podcast topic sheet. Do you actually respect Michael?
That's such a question you could only get away with because Michael's not here to edit this. Oh God. He would hate that.
Yes, you would.
Yeah. No, not even. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
my
wait,
God,
you're
that's
kidding?
hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, wait. I
Yeah.
meant to say I was kidding too.
God, that's hilarious. I'm excited for this podcast to go up and then listen to it on the boat with Michael
Yeah.
and just to watch his reaction. He's gonna be so mad. It's gonna be
He's going to be
great.
so mad. He's going to be like, you guys are getting us canceled and you're risking my entire social media career.
Yeah.
Do you think he
Unfortunately, he's not
cares
here.
more about his social media or being a doctor and doing a good job?
Being a doctor.
All right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
How
Oh,
much,
God.
how much do you think it would devastate him to lose all of his influencer status all at once?
All at once?
Yeah. Do you think it would be, is there anything worse that could happen to him that would affect him?
I actually don't think he would be like that devastated.
You don't think?
No, I mean, he's got a great career. I think he'd be like, oh man, all that work for nothing. I think he'd be bummed about it, but I don't think he'd be like devastated.
Mm,
There's probably a part where you're like, man, that frees up a ton of time in my life.
right.
Because then you're like, I don't have to edit anymore. I don't have to do that.
Right.
Imagine. Right. I mean, can you imagine if you didn't have to edit stuff, you'd had so much more free time? You'd probably be better at golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just play golf all the time with all my days off.
Yeah. Because it's not like another content creator where you're relying on it for income. It's like
Yeah.
you're doing it for fun and added income on the side.
The last time I played golf, I saw a guy with like a 4-year-old daughter or something, maybe 4 or 5,
Yeah.
with him just kind of messing around. I was like, that's going to be me in 2 years.
Oh, that's gonna be a blast, man.
Just a little bit longer, B. Grow up a little bit, sweetie. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you earlier. Do you remember when since we're talking about being kids a bunch, do you remember like seeing like parents of our friends who were doctors
Yeah.
and just being like, could you ever envision yourself actually being that person?
No. I couldn't even envision it like a couple of years ago. I was
Yeah, me
like
neither.
I would go through like resident. I mean, I was a doctor as an intern. I would be like, there's no way I could do it.
Right.
Right now is probably the first time I think in my entire training where I'm starting to feel like, because I'm becoming like an expert in breast imaging. And so it's like there's one field that I know better than every other doctor and every other person. And like, unless you're a breast radiologist, you will not know more than me about like breast cancer and breast radiology, basically.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm slow. I can feel it happening where it's like
I feel that way about neuro.
yeah, it's like you're like once you do it, you're like, okay, not like now I'm feeling like a doctor because I feel like an expert in my field. Whereas before I'd be like, yeah, I know like a bunch of medicine and stuff, but like, and I'm like, do I?
I know a bunch of facts.
Yeah, like I can read a CT and all that stuff fine, but you're like I can do the general basic stuff like emergency radiology and stuff like that, but I'm not like an expert in any one thing. Like I couldn't read an MRI and be like, with 100% confidence, I know exactly like any complicated case, I guess I should say, or like a neuro case and be like, man, I'm nailing that one on the head.
Right.
And now it's like with breast imaging, I'm like, all right, I'm getting there. Like this is my field.
Yeah. I saw a dog today with like multiple cranial nerve deficits.
Yeah.
Like they were just all over the place. And I was just like picking them off, being like, da 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 da, found all of them. And I had a moment where I was like, dude, if you would have told me in vet school that I could do that by now, like me trying to struggle through neuroanatomy my first month in vet school and just being like, huh? Like, holy cow, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, just barely hanging on for the test kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One other question before you go. Does Marvel suck now?
Yes, it does.
I think it does too. Did you try watching She-Hulk?
No, I haven't because I know it's gonna suck.
Yeah, it's an atrocity.
It's becoming so. I mean, like I know it's a like a Marvel character thing, but it's becoming such a like a cartoon and very like Disney-fied. Like
it's becoming Saturday morning cartoons, which is I don't want any part of.
Right. And I was just thinking about that because I was like, I saw Steve this morning, the guy I work out with, the big comic book guy, is my trainer basically. And I was just like, none of these, like they're fun and you can get a fun movie out of them. Like I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was a fun movie, and it's like,
did you see it?
Yeah, and it's like a fun movie experience, and like it's a fun thing to go to the movie.
It's nowhere near Thor Ragnarok.
No, it's not. It's not even close to it. But
Yeah.
it's like, but it's nice to go and like eat some popcorn, see like a fun fight scene or two, and then be like, oh, it was a good message at the end of it, kind of thing. Like
It's like an excuse to go to the arc light and have an old fashioned and watch a movie.
literally, yeah. It's just like a thing for Caitlin and I to do together and like enjoy we always go Sunday mornings. It's like
Okay.
Sunday at 10, 11 o'clock. And it's like we go there, have some popcorn, bring our coffee into the theater, and like watch movie. It's stress free, no anxiety. It's
Right.
like easy movie. So it's for that, it's great. But like the storylines and this whole like next
Yeah.
phase, it's just like
What
nothing.
I'm just like, what is even going on?
It's not even close. There's no like stakes ever. And there's
No.
nothing close to what the first stuff is. So I think it's just moved into like it's for teenagers and like it's for children now and like stuff like that, which is fine, but
Yeah.
it's just not what it used to be.
Yeah, I agree with that take. Finally, before we go, do you have any general recommendations for mammograms for women since you're about to be a breast imaging expert?
I mean, everyone should start at 40 is the recommended
40?
year. But I mean, me personally, if you can afford it, I would start earlier because there's a lot of breast cancers diagnosed in women in their 30s. So, I mean, like 35, basically, as soon as I'm in attending and I finish up this stuff, I'll probably start getting Caitlin mammograms.
Really?
I mean, it leads to a lot. There's a lot of like false positives and stuff like that, but yeah, false positives.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a dummy.
Like you find a lump and then you're not sure what it is, but
yeah,
then
and
you biopsy it.
Yeah, you biopsy it. It's so stressed. Like these women are so stressed for the 48 hours or however long they know that they have to get the biopsy until the results, and they're like so relieved, and it's like all this anxiety built up.
Yeah.
But it's just I've seen so many. I mean, it's just product. Like I see breast cancer all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's just products I've seen like 32-year-olds, a 25-year-old with like DCIS, like getting mastectomy and stuff like that. It's just crazy.
So if you do it before the age of 40 with no like family risk, will your insurance still pay for it?
No. So
see, that's why I want to get a colonoscopy. I'm about to turn 40 and I just want to get a colonoscopy.
Yeah, just do it. You'll have to pay for it, but like,
because all I see on TikTok is like people dying of colon cancer when they're 28.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, rest in peace, my best friend. He was 39.
Yeah.
He died of colon cancer.
Dude, things like that, man. It's the risk of a colonoscopy, like the risk and all that stuff is so low. It's like, and if you can afford it out of pocket, like, dude, I'm going to do it at 40 out of your mind. Of course I am.
Yeah. I think I'm in the next year, I am getting a colonoscopy somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of colon cancer.
Oh yeah, me too. I feel like the rest of our family gives us crap about this, but have like the anxiety of medical stuff. But it's like, what's the downside?
Right.
You have to get another colonoscopy. You get a polyp removed. It's fine, but then 5
years.
What
if I have a polyp in there and I would have just waited 5 years?
Yeah. And it's like, oh, now I have to have a partial colectomy, and like maybe I have to have like a colostomy and all this stuff. And it's like, or I could have just watched it and had a polypectomy and it would have been fine. And
right.
It's like, oh, that's the boat I'm in. And definitely for women, there's like gene carriers and stuff like that. If you have a strong family history,
right,
you have like the check 2 or like BRCA or something like that, you should absolutely be getting early screening with like breast MRI or even mammography.
Like how early?
I actually don't remember the specifics on the guidelines for high risk screening when it comes
like in your early 30s.
So I think BRCA, you can just start getting them depending, like breast MRIs, even as early as like, I think you can just start if you're like in your 20s, 25, something like that. I actually can't remember.
Insurance will pay for it.
Yeah, insurance should pay for screen MRI. And I know like in Illinois, when we recommend like supplemental screening, there's other things like if you had radiation to your chest and like childbearing years and like mediastinal radiation for like lymphomas and stuff like that, when you're like 18 to 30 or something, you can get them. If you're high risk based on your breast density and your family history and stuff like that, over 20% lifetime risk of breast cancer, you can get them.
Right.
So it's just stuff like that. So if you have the mutation, you have like strong family history, I would get genetic testing for the people who had that cancer, like your mom or something.
Yeah.
Go based on that.
Okay. How much is a mammogram if you don't have insurance pay for it?
I actually don't know. I never had to.
Are you that disconnected from the cost of it?
No, it's just because you don't use that as like you use the idea of like how can I prevent this patient from having to deal with like these ridiculous costs? I'm very conscientious about that, as literally we just talked about, not having money my whole life and getting a bill for $2,000 from a medical thing
Right.
is like ruined you for, and I physically understand that because it's actually happened to me. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I understand that process.
It
But
ruined you for a year.
oh,
least.
years. Yeah. And it crushes you. But so all that kind of stuff. And but so I try and stay conscientious about that. But like a screener, I don't know the specific numbers, and it changes from place to place.
Mm.
All
All right.
Well,
Well, Tommy, I think we've reached the end of this. I think we survived. I know you were probably scared going in doing this without Michael,
yeah.
which I get. I get being scared.
Yeah. Well, there you go. All right.
Is
Well,
Caitlin telling you to leave?
yeah, she is. So
All right. Well, guys, please like and subscribe to our podcast. Hit up my channel, DVM Cellini, if you want to hear vet stuff and animal stuff and all sorts of industry, veterinary, animal neuroscience stuff. And don't hit up anything. Just Tommy has nothing, and there's nothing to hit up for him.
I'm a nobody.
Yep, he's nobody. Go ahead and unsubscribe to all of Michael's Instagram and YouTube while you're at it, because he's not here. And we'll be back next week with, I think, all three of us, unless you're going to be in Croatia. Are you going to be in Croatia?
Yeah. So next week's probably out on. Then we'll come back the week after.
Probably out next week, and then we'll come back the week after. Although I might be able to wrangle you guys for a podcast. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. Don't forget to edit
do
this.
it on
Jim.
your phones.
Heavily edit this one.
I will have to heavily edit this one.
And just anything questionable, maybe be like,
go ahead and just cut that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Just err on the side of caution.
All right, everybody, peace out.
See ya.